The sound of a car backfiring sent James Crawford diving to the floor of Sam's diner, his heart hammering, hands shaking. As embarrassed customers stared and one teenager laughed, the 29-year-old Marine veteran climbed back into his booth, trying to control his breathing. He didn't know his worst moment was about to get worse, or that 4 strangers in the corner were about to change his life. Officer Derek Hayes walked into the diner moments later, spotting James immediately. The military haircut, combat boots, and Marine Corps tattoo told the story, but instead of compassion, Hayes felt contempt. At 32, with 8 years on the Riverside Police Department, he'd learned to use his badge as a weapon against people he considered weak. "Rough day, soldier?" Hayes asked mockingly as he passed James's booth. "Marine," James corrected quietly. "And I'm fine, officer." "You don't look fine," Hayes said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "You look like you're about to jump out of your skin. What's the problem? Someone drop a fork and you think it's a gunshot?" James clenched his jaw. "I'd appreciate it if you'd leave me alone, sir." "That's cute. You know what I think? I think you military types come back expecting everyone to treat you like heroes. But look at you, shaking like a scared kid. Maybe you should consider getting help instead of having breakdowns in public. Kind of pathetic, don't you think?" James stood abruptly, fists at his sides. "You want to say that again?" Hayes's hand moved toward his weapon. "Oh, now you're threatening a police officer? Maybe you need a night in a cell to cool off." "I didn't threaten you," James said, his voice tight. "But you're mocking something you don't understand. Sit down right now, or I'm arresting you for disorderly conduct," Hayes ordered. James sat slowly, trembling with humiliation. Hayes smirked, satisfied. What Officer Hayes didn't know was that 4 men in the back corner had heard everything, and they were Marines. Sergeant Mike Gunner Torres stood first, 36 years old, built like a tank, covered in tattoos. He walked over to James's booth, ignoring Hayes completely. "Hey, brother," Gunner said gently. "You okay?" James saw the Marine Corps ring and felt his throat tighten. "Yeah, I'm fine." "No, you're not. And that's okay. None of us are fine all the time." Hayes stepped forward. "Excuse me, I was handling this situation." Gunner's expression went cold. "Handling it? Is that what you call mocking a combat veteran for having PTSD? This is police business. Return to your table before you become part of the problem." 3 more Marines joined them, Doc, Bear, and Preacher, forming a protective circle around James. "We're just checking on our brother," Doc said calmly. "When you serve, you look out for each other. Always." "I don't care about your military brotherhood," Hayes snapped. "I'm ordering you to step back." "On what grounds?" Preacher asked, his minister's voice gentle but firm. "We're customers in a diner. We're not breaking any laws." Gunner stepped closer. "You're a bully with a badge. You saw someone vulnerable and decided to make yourself feel big. You have no idea what real courage looks like."
If you believe bikers are good people, subscribe to this channel and show us your support.
"I could arrest all of you right now," Hayes threatened. "For what?" Bear asked. "Having a conversation? You're going to arrest 4 veterans for checking on a 5th veteran you were harassing." Hayes's radio crackled with an emergency call. He had to respond. "This isn't over," he said, pointing at Gunner. "Oh, it's definitely not over," Gunner agreed. "But not in the way you think." After Hayes left, the 4 Marines sat with James, who was crying quietly. "That cop was right," James said. "I'm pathetic." "Stop," Gunner said firmly. "You dropped to the floor because your brain is protecting you from danger. That kept you alive in combat. It doesn't make you pathetic. It makes you human." Doc pulled out his phone. "I work at the VA. I'm getting you better access to resources. Group therapy, EMDR treatment, whatever you need." "My construction company has a fund for veterans," Bear added. "You're getting help, brother. That's not negotiable." "Why are you doing this?" James asked. "Because we're Marines," Preacher said simply. "We don't leave anyone behind, not in combat, not at home, not ever." Over the next week, Gunner filed a formal complaint backed by witness statements and video footage. He contacted veteran organizations across the region. Within days, Hayes's behavior was being discussed everywhere. Police Chief Robert Martinez, himself a Navy veteran, watched the video with growing anger. "Get Hayes in my office, now." Hayes walked in expecting support. Instead, he found Martinez, 2 investigators, and an HR representative. "You mocked a combat veteran for having PTSD," Martinez said coldly. "You used your badge to humiliate someone who served this country. You did it because you enjoyed feeling powerful." "Sir, you were just showing us exactly the kind of officer you are, the kind who mistakes cruelty for strength, the kind who has no business wearing this badge." Hayes was suspended without pay. The investigation took 6 weeks. During that time, James received calls from hundreds of Marines offering support. Gunner's 4-man group expanded into a weekly support network at Sam's Diner, and other veterans began joining them. Officer Derek Hayes was fired after the investigation concluded. The evidence was overwhelming. His appeal was denied. His law enforcement career was over at 32. 6 months later, James was doing better. Not perfect. PTSD doesn't work that way, but better. He was in intensive therapy, reconnecting with his ex-wife, and working at Bear's construction company. Most importantly, he'd found community. Captain Martinez showed up at their Thursday meeting to deliver news personally. "Officer Hayes has been terminated. I wanted to apologize for how he treated you, James." James shook his hand. "Thank you, sir." "And I have a proposal," Martinez continued. "We're implementing new training on mental health crises and PTSD. I'd like you gentlemen to help design and teach it." Gunner smiled. "We'd be honored, Captain." The training program became a model for other departments, building bridges between law enforcement and the military community. The story became legendary in veteran circles, shared in VA hospitals and support groups everywhere. The lesson was simple but powerful. When you mock a Marine dealing with the invisible wounds of war, you never know who's listening. You never know which quiet customers are brothers and sisters who will stand up and say, "Not today, not to one of ours." James still has bad days. He still drops to the floor when cars backfire. But he knows he's not alone. He has brothers who understand, who don't judge, who stand beside him. And every Thursday at Sam's Diner, a growing group of veterans gathers to remind each other that coming home from war is just another battle, but it's one you don't have to fight alone. Because Marines don't leave anyone behind. Not on the battlefield, not in a diner, not ever. If this story moved you, remember this. The veterans in your community, sitting quietly in diners, standing in line at grocery stores, working alongside you, are fighting battles you can't see. PTSD isn't weakness, it's the price of courage. The next time you see someone struggling, be the person who stands up, not the one who mocks. Be Gunner, not Hayes. Our heroes didn't abandon us on foreign soil. We have no right to abandon them at home. If you believe our veterans deserve respect, protection, and support, share this story and show them they're not fighting alone.
If you believe veterans deserve respect, subscribe to this channel and show us your support.